A lot of people referencing the fact that not all of the big names are out for the Melbourne Storm.
No, there's
right.
two good,
Yeah,
Pappenhausen and Munster. So
still,
it's not like they're running completely dead.
still there. Yeah. Christian Welsh is there. There's plenty of players that are in there, so they didn't tip the bucket.
There's a lot that aren't,
down.
though. There's a lot that are hardly household names.
Well, here's some of the outs from the week before. Katoa, Grant, Howarth, Hughes, Asifa Solomona, of course, Blore, Kamakamitha, Will Warbrick. So there's some of the big names that are out. So we can argue back and forth as to how much he turned this whole team around or whether or not he did. Is he resting the entire – it doesn't – it's a bit of a moot point, but there are a heck of a lot of players on the sideline. But it does lead to one of the discussions that Ben from the Ponds has said, which we've discussed on this program. The more teams start resting players at the end of the season, the closer we get to the AFL system of a week's break before the finals.
No, well, not really.
No, but we could. So if we wanted to have a look at that scenario. What do you think about that? Because I'll tell you something, mate.
I hate it.
My mind's changed on it.
Like most people in the AFL, they hate it too. They do.
For the reasons of...
Because it's a week without football.
It's a week without football. Yeah.
I think it's insane.
So here's the thing. My mind has changed on that. I've been a firm believer that, especially in sport, and one thing that COVID taught us was if you stop, it's very hard to get back up and running again and very hard to get momentum. Not only that, you give others a free kick. So I've always been, whatever you do, try just keep on going, right? But the more I thought about this, it works for the AFL. It doesn't impact the AFL's ratings. It doesn't impact their crowds.
No.
I don't hear too many.
Their fans just get cranky about it.
Well, I sat with two AFL fans, two avid AFL supporters last night. We talked about a whole stack of stuff. Not once did that come up. The week off.
If it was rugby league, we'd be talking about it for decades.
We'd be blowing up. So I changed my tune on it. And my thought process was, Webby, if the AFL can do it, the NRL can do it. They're big enough to do it. I think that's the key. They're big enough sports to do it.
I hate the idea.
You just don't want to stop?
No.
No free kick?
The season's long enough as it is.
I
Where are we going to go?
agree with
We're
that.
going to start in February and end in December. Like, it just never ends.
Yeah.
They also have a shorter season, the AFL.
Yes.
By a month.
Yep.
Like, it's a 23-round competition, not
Yeah,
27.
that's a
I
fair
wrote
point.
about this before I went to Paris for the Olympics. There was a lot of talk. I wrote it, and then others wrote it like it was their news, but I actually wrote it.
Oh, we're getting all journalistic on us.
I am kind of enough. 20-team comp. They're dead set looking at it, the NRL. If they can get to a 20-team comp, then they'll have a 20-round comp. And I think that would be ideal. If you're an NFL follower out there, the best thing about the NFL is that it's like a short, sharp, condensed season.
Yep.
And that's the way, although they are adding round after round with each year, the NFL. I just think it's too much is sometimes too much. So, it's not I just don't like the idea of extending the season out for a week. I would be more open to the week off between the preliminaries and the grand final.
Right.
What they do in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So there is a week off, but it doesn't come before the finals.
No.
It comes during the finals.
That's right. Well, just at the end for the grand final.
For-
We have
yeah.
a 2-week build-up.
Yeah.
For the
And that
give
would
you
help.
time to get over injuries and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Because we've also got to remember HIA stand-downs here as well in this game.
Sure.
So the 11-day stand-down, that plays a huge part in finals, doesn't it?
That's right.
And the only way to do that is have 2 weeks.
I'd be more. Look, again, I'd still just think, I don't know why you would change it. I think I keep it as it is. My only thing is I'd just reduce the length of the season.
No, I'm all for that. Absolutely all for that. Thanks for changing my mind back. I thought I'd had
Sorry.
I thought I'd had an emotional breakthrough.
This happens very rarely where, well, it happened. I think Penrith had a couple of years ago. I sort of lose track of the years, but I mean it's very rare that you have the minor premiership wrapped up 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks in advance of the final, so you can rest like Melbourne do. I don't think this comes up all the time. It's not like it's every season.
Yeah, here's Dan's thoughts on the text line. Matty and Mr. Webster. With the modern day concussion rules, does the NRL put a bye week before the grand final, to be honest?
Oh, well done.
Imagine if key players were to miss a GF due to a concussion protocol, get ahead of the problem before it becomes one. The trick for sports around the world is this balance between, like you say with the NFL, short, sharp, condensed, nice in its own box, and it works well because Fans love it. Regularity is there, and it's what people want, and broadcasters love it.
You mean what with the week off?
No. I'm saying about the trick for sports at the moment because, like you say, we don't want to go another month. But here's the trick. If you're a sport, you're sitting there going, okay, I want a short, sharp, condensed, competition. But broadcasters and where you make your extra money is coming up with things like the play-in tournament, for instance, in the NBA. So you want these things.
Yeah, sure.
You see what I'm saying? So that's the trick. You want your competition to live in a nice, condensed, short, sharp, and sweet box. And there it is. Everyone knows what's happening. It's wonderfully regular. Yet, where do you get all your extra cash from? You get it from State of Origin. You get it from whether it's play-in finals. You get it from pre-season, all that kind of stuff. And that expands the box. So that's the real balancing act that they've got to find. And that's why I started to think, well, okay, if the NRL could be smart here, because the NRL can afford to stop. It's the biggest game in town, right? So it can afford to stop. I don't know if you're A-League, for instance, you can't afford to be chopping and changing and stopping and starting and no one know what the heck's going on. I think it's just a different scenario on that front. Give us your thoughts.
Hang on. The game whinges if the mere mention of a standalone weekend for rep football, including Origin. How are they going to go with a standalone weekend with nothing on? What are they going to do?
That's right.
They're going to have an all-star weekend.
There you go. Got to somehow fill the box. Give us
Big
your thoughts. 0457 736 736 is my text line. Matty, I'm not sure why the salary cap means you can't restructure a contract. The NFL is a salary cap sport, and every year they restructure players' contracts to create more space, as it's just part of the business. So, Paul, having a thought around the Tom Trebojevic
Yeah, but you're also
situation.
in the NFL, you know exactly what everyone's contract is.
Right.
They're very open about what the contract values are. In the NRL, it's not. So don't you think it's a bit sus if a player takes a significant pay cut so they can pay somebody else or fit someone else into the cap? I don't know if that's going to be unless there's total transparency in what players make, and the RLPA have said no to that many times, and I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, and that last enterprise bargaining agreement or collective bargaining agreement was so hard fought that you'd think that it's ironclad for the next few years. So don't see any change in that one. Razor says, so the Broncos have to play a finals game in the last game of the year to make the 8, and a full-strength Storm side can run around and have fun. Sounds like an exciting way to make the 8. Well, the Broncos have to beat the Dolphins first.
Yeah.
So, and the Dolphins have to beat the Broncos. That's the scenario there for those two teams, whether they want to remain in the hunt. So everything will hinge on this weekend. If you're the Broncos, it doesn't matter what Melbourne do in the last round unless you beat the Dolphins this week.
That's right. God, this is very getting an ice cream headache thinking about all this stuff.
0457 736
Are the Dolphins any chance of beating Brisbane? They're very busted.
Yeah.
It's going to come to the Broncos. It's going to come down to the last round. It's like it's a fascinating end of the season. I'm on the Team Broncos.